Hello and welcome back to the Frontlines of Kerbin. This is Lance, the overseer of the series, and today we are diving into turn 12. This one gets a little spicy. If you recall the production phase of our last episode, General Mavis of Gallandia authorized the construction of our first heavy bombers. So expect those to make an explosive debut today. Minor spoiler alert. Let's roll the intro sequence. Just like our previous episodes, we are heading right into the movement phase. Here's a quick look at the map from end of turn 11, just to refresh your memory on the current board state. Let's get right on into Ashkar's advance. We're starting over at grid F8. The last remnants of Ashkar's World WWII Era tanks push forward, making their way to F7 to link up with the battered veteran brigade already stationed there. Aside from a few stragglers down south, this combined force at F7 represents the final stand of Ashkar's World WWII Armored Division. And they are moving out of the way just in time because our next step is over at F10. Here, the brand new early World War II tanks push themselves up to F8, taking the exact spot the World War I units just vacated. We're now seeing the modern, heavier World War II armor creeping right up into the contested border. To back them up, the massive brigade of medium, heavies, and SPGs that were created in the city of Barca last episode roll right on out, advancing and parking right at F10. The Barca supply line is churning out armor at a terrifying rate. Don't be surprised if this is a continuous conga line of tanks become Ashkar's new normal. On the western flank, the units from D12 move right on into Fort Heckmack to bolster the garrison. And right behind them, the two AA-2 Sandstorms push from E14 right on into E12, closing right on in to Fort Heckmack as well. For Ashkar's air movements, General Korey plays it safe with a single scout flyby. I decided to show this movement a little bit in full to slow down the pace a little bit of the episode and remind everyone how active scouting kind of works in game here. As a quick side note, this is Editor Lance popping back in here. I forgot to mention that the AS2 Coyotes that are sitting in E12, all three of them, have flown right on over into Fort Heckmack as well, giving General Korey a lot more scouting capabilities if she so needs it. So, with that run complete, the scouts return safely, providing General Korey with some valuable insight into what General Mavis is stockpiling at Outpost Aurelia. Let's pause and take a look at the updated map to see what Ashkar has accomplished this movement phase so far. As you can see, General Korey is executing a flawless logical push. She is cycling her older, damaged units to the absolute front line at F7 to act as a shield, while a continuous, terrifying large column of superior World War II armor marches right on up behind them. The pressure on Galandia's center is immense. If Mavis doesn't find a way to break that supply line, that World War II armor is going to crash over the border like a tidal wave. But Mavis isn't one to sit quietly. Let's move into Galandia and see how she plays her turn. General Mavis's first move, a retaliatory strike. She targets Ashkar's Outpost Scimitar. From Camp Sentinel, Mavis orders a massive bombing sortie. The strike package consists of a brand new JH-1 Titan heavy bomber, 2 GB6 ironclads equipped with the new 500-pound bombs, and 2 GI-8 twin tails for escort. Mavis has taken strategic bombing seriously, and she is trying to cripple Ashkar's forward logistics. Will it work? Ashkar only has 2 outdated World War II anti-air emplacements defending that forward operating base. Let's see how this plays out. It's a flawless victory for Galandia. Defending anti-air emplacements were completely wiped out, and Galandia didn't lose a single aircraft. But the real story is the payload. The GH-1 Titan successfully dropped 4 500-pound bombs directly onto the runway. Let's talk about that. So, forward operating bases, as you've seen on episode 6, they have been up to 10,000 hit points. Those 4 bombs dealt 2,000 hit points of damage to the structure. The base is now sitting at 8,000 HP. If Mavis keeps this up, she can literally level the base to the ground. All aircraft will return to Camp Sentinel to refuel, rearm, and likely prepare for another run. Mavis launches her own reconnaissance from Fort Kestrel. She deploys her old World War I scout plane, the GS-3 Owl, to fly over F8, which is currently occupied by Ashkar's brand new World War II tanks. That Owl did get dangerously close, positively identifying the new World War II division, and probably got out of dodge. It took a little bit of light damage, but man, this is some incredibly juicy intel if you ask me. Mavis now knows exactly what kind of heavy armor is waiting behind F7. And back on the ground, all ground units stationed in the city of Ironvale pack up and move to the forward operating base of Fort Kestrel, shoring up its defenses. Finally, in the city of Falworth, the 2 tanks there, spawned last turn, move into the grid of C7 here. And that concludes turn 12's movement phase. Let's take a look at the updated board. The dynamic of this war is shifting drastically. While Ashkar completely dominates the ground momentum, pushing a massive wedge of armor up the F line, Galandia is seizing the initiative in the air by successfully bombing Outpost Scimitar. Mavis proved that she could project power deep into enemy territory without risking ground troops. The board is heating up. We are right on the verge of either a massive armored breakthrough or a devastating aerial pushback. The point spending phase is going to dictate which happens first. But before we head into production, I want to quickly remind you all that the official Frontlines of Kerbin Discord server is live. If you want to discuss these strategies, talk with me directly, or get sneak peeks of the upcoming units, check the link in the description and come join the community. Now back to the war. Let's see how the points are spent. And starting with Ashkar, is Korey going to repeat her massive tank buy? Well, yes and no. General Korey clearly understands that Outpost Scimitar is woefully unprepared for the World War II era, so she decides to modernize. At Outpost Scimitar, Korey installs 2 AA-5 Skybreaker anti-air emplacements, spawns 2 AI-9 Razor interceptors, and builds a brand new piece of technology, the AR-1 Oracle radar emplacement. Let's talk about the Oracle. It can detect incoming planes up to 15 kilometers away. Very much, mainly the big ones, like the GH-1 Titan, for example. However, it is a slow mechanical sweep, taking 36 seconds to complete one full 360-degree rotation. That is a massive blind spot. If Galandian planes time their approach perfectly, they might still sneak up on the base. But combined with the new interceptors and the anti-air emplacements, Scimitar is no longer a soft target. Quick question for you guys. Should I make a unique map icon for specifically radar units? Let me know in the comments down below. Back at the city of Barca, it is business as usual. Korey spends her entire remaining budget to build another massive armored wave. 2 AH-1 Rhino Heavy Tanks, 4 AT-44 Cobra medium tanks, and 3 AS-5 Locust self-propelled guns. And with that, this is the Ashkar's production is complete. We move right on into General Mavis to see her turn 12 point phase. In the city of Westmere, General Mavis makes a massive ground play, spawning 3 GT-9 Bastion Heavy Tanks, based on the Churchill design. These heavy tanks are incredibly tough nuts to crack. Mavis has hinted that she wanted to roll these directly into the meat grinder at F7 next turn. Place your bets in the comments of how this will go. But the real spending happens at the air bases. At Outpost Aurelia, Mavis preps for a massive aerial campaign. She builds 2 GH-1 Titan heavy bombers, 1 GB-6 ironclad with the 500-pound bombs as well, and 1 GI-8 Twin-tail interceptor. She mirrors this almost exactly at Fort Kestrel, building another GH-1 Titan, one GB-6 ironclad with the 500-pound bombs, and one GI-8 twin-tail. And with that, let's take one last look at the map for turn 12 as a whole now. The board might not look like it changed drastically, but the production phase tells a terrifying story. General Mavis is building an absolute armada of heavy bombers. I haven't ran turn 13 yet, but I'll give you a slight spoiler. We're going to be seeing some serious bombing runs very soon. And as we close out this episode, I do want to ask one more question. What are your thoughts on the new heavy bombers and the radar mechanics? Who made the better plays this turn? We will find out the consequences of these actions in episode 9. And keep an eye out for it, as the bi-weekly schedule is working wonderful for me, and I'm thrilled to keep bringing you these high quality turns. And as always, this is Lance, the Overseer of Frontlines of Kerbin, signing off.